Welcome to Desert Skies podcast, episode 0. I know that sounds weird considering this is coming out after probably I think either the fifth or sixth one, but this is kind of one that I've wanted to do for a while, and it's going to be a really short one, maybe 15, 20 minutes at most. But the guest today is actually going to be me, so I'm just going to introduce myself real quick. My name is Reed DeVault. I'm 18. I'm a senior in high school, and I'm an athlete as well, and that's a huge part of my personality. Some of the things that I would like people to know about me, if I had to kind of just lay it out there, would be um, I'm a big I'm a big believer in putting yourself out there and really working hard. And then two, I'm a believer that everybody has something to give to the world, and that kind of just gets me started on the subject of today's episode and today's little, short memo, I guess. We have, in my family, have recently experienced a death, one that really kind of came out of nowhere. And it wasn't somebody who I knew very well, but it was somebody who I definitely appreciated. They always brought an atmosphere of love and accepting into our family that I cherished a lot. And yesterday some things went wrong, and they passed away. And of course that kind of thing happens every day, and it's a really sad reminder, but a good one to have when when you realize and you take for granted the things that you have. Um, I've been alive for 18 years, a pretty short time if you really think about it. And in that 18 years, I've learned a couple things about the value of life. Um, my name is Reed, and without knowing what that means in my family, it seems like not a big deal, but actually, that name carries a lot of weight and a lot of memory. I was named after my uncle, who committed suicide at 17. He was an ingenious, funny, and loving brother who struggled a lot with some internal things, and he ended up losing the battle in the end. But the thing is, ever since I was young, I've had that idea in my head. The idea that one life, one name, one breath can really just change everybody else around you. Yesterday's events reminded me of that, and today I was just thinking, what can I do to um, honor my family's memory, honor Reed's memory, and I felt like this was the perfect thing. Who, no matter who you are, no matter where you're at in life, no matter what you feel your value is, you are worth every second of every day and anybody else's time. No matter who has told you the opposite, you bring value to this world. You are special, you are loved, and I appreciate you being here and fighting the good fight, because that's what we all need to do. Um, I've had a lot of experience in my short time here with just dealing with this kind of stuff. I suffer from um, some anxiety and some other things. I have some very hard to deal with ADHD, and there's some mood swings that come with that, and things get hard sometimes. And I would be lying if I said that I've never experienced um, any kind of suicidal thoughts. And I'm going to tell you today about this because I I didn't realize what I meant to people and what people would just mean to people without knowing it. I'm going to share a little story. When I lived in Washington, I had a friend, a sweet friend named Alan. He was a kind-hearted kid, loved everybody around him, really just made people feel like they were worth it, and like he valued their time and their words and just the person they were. I showed up to school one day. It seemed like a normal day. There was a weird feeling in the air, but I couldn't really pin it down. And then I was in my like advisory period, and I hear this girl talking about how there were police cars down the street, and how somebody had taken their own life. And then she said that it was a student, and so of course I was worried. I went to a 2A school where everybody practically knew everyone, and so I was like, oh no, is this going to be one of my friends? And they said the name, and I didn't know who it was, or I thought I didn't know, and I kind of really didn't think about it, and I was a little relieved. We had an assembly that day, and so I it was a college assembly, and I walk out, and I see my friend, um, and he's sitting in a chair, and he's sobbing, and I walk up to him and I say, "Hey bud, did you know him?" And he goes, it's Dallin. And at first I was like, who? And he said, Dallin, dude, it's Dallin. And it took a second, but as I was sitting down, it hit me, and a wave of shock and sadness and just heavy emotion hit me. Now, I didn't know this kid very well, but I had talked to him. We were friends. We weren't super close, but he'd always been kind to me, and I had always tried to make him feel loved. And I just knew, you know, that that sick feeling in my stomach was just a fraction of what his other friends were feeling, and it hurt so bad. Um, Later that night, we had a meeting at our church building, and people were asked to show up just to talk about it, to try to work through this emotionally as a group. We're all sitting in this chapel, and a surprising amount of people showed up. Um, as people began to recount, things about Dallin and things they loved about this kid, it really touched on us how much of an impact he had without realizing it. Dallin struggled a silent battle that many other people struggle with. We can only assume that he struggled with feelings of inadequacy, of hopelessness. But the thing that stood out about Dallin after the fact was how kind he was, how much he loved other people, and how much he wanted to make them feel valued. We loved Dallin, and I miss him. I wish that never happened, and I wasn't even very close to him. I know people who were, but it goes to show people are struggling. If you struggle with depression, anxiety, don't feel weak because you struggle with those things, and do not struggle in silence. Dallin struggled quietly. He talked to a couple of people, but not nearly enough, and I wish I would have known, because I wish I could have been there for him, but he didn't tell that many people. And when it came down to it, it was too much to hold in. I'm begging anybody who's listening right now, anybody who's going to take the time to actually listen to this little podcast, for the love of God, please, please keep going. Please keep trying. Please keep pushing yourself, because you have so much to offer this world. At Dallin's funeral, there was at least 1,000, maybe more people there who remembered what a kind and loving boy this was. Don't for a second doubt your worth as a human being. If anything makes you feel inadequate, it's not from the right source. You may be failing in areas of your life. You may be at an all-time low. But that doesn't mean you can quit. That doesn't mean you can stop going. Because the world is better with you in it, regardless of what anybody says ever. And that's my firm belief. If you struggle with those kind of feelings, remember this: the world is a better place with you in it. A big thing that I believe is this: you have no idea the impact that you have on others, and you have no idea what you will be capable of in the future. You have no idea of what you're going to bring to this world, and you have no idea how incredible of a person you can be. There is so much for you to give, there's so much for you to be, and it would be such a shame if you were to stop now. Life is like a marathon. You pace, you run, and yeah, it's going to suck. Mile 26 isn't easy for anybody, but finishing, getting to the end and knowing you put everything into that feeling is unbeatable. The same with any other race. And life is just, it's a marathon, not a sprint. Remember that. Remember to take it one day at a time and realize, I just got to keep going. I got this. I can do this. The value of our lives is immeasurable. If your life doesn't hold value right now, you can increase that value by living a life worthy of talking about, by living a life worthy of writing about, by living a life that others will look to and see as an example of strength, courage, and just determination. If anything is to be taken away from this, it's that you hold value. I personally know that anybody that listens to this podcast, anybody that hears this, holds value, regardless of whether you believe it or not. The death in our family was not from a suicide. It was from an accident. And that's just one thing to think about is life isn't a sure thing. It never is. It never has been. It never will be. So we need to live it the best that we can. Sure, we all have our flaws. We all forget that we're all human sometimes, and we judge others, we hate ourselves, we hate others, we feel anger, we feel these emotions, but when you put it all into perspective, kindness is what wins. And that determination to keep going, to keep trying, to keep being everything that you can be is what's valuable. It's my plea that each and every one of my listeners and just each and every one of you out there, listen to that angel on your shoulder telling you, hey, if you keep fighting, you're gonna do something that you could never even imagine. If you keep fighting past this low point, you're gonna reach a new high. And that high is gonna build on another high, and you're gonna achieve things that you never thought you could achieve. I want to kind of close this off by saying, no act of kindness is too small to save a life. You never know where somebody's at. You never know what's going to happen tomorrow or even in the next hour. Treat yourself with respect, love, tolerance, and kindness, and treat others with that exact same feeling. Let them know that you love them. Hug your loved ones. Forgive those who have wronged you. And do your best to just be that person that you know you would need in that time. Because God knows people are good at hiding their emotions, especially the strong ones. And people like me who don't want to talk about things, who don't want to share things as much as I talk, they overestimate their own ability. And our mind is a tricky thing to navigate, so we get tripped up sometimes. Remember, the words that you speak into somebody's ear, the things that you say behind somebody's back, the things that the way that you carry yourself, all of that factors in to a person's next step. So be the kindness, be the change, be the difference in somebody else's life. I want to add on to that by saying life is short, but don't live it in fear. Go out every day achieving the things that you need to achieve, pushing yourself to new heights, and allowing yourself the room to grow. We're all here for a reason. We're all here to help each other. This isn't a one-man journey. This isn't something that anybody does alone. Support each other, love each other, and most of all, just remember to keep going and keep trying and keep pushing, because at the end of it all, you don't know what you mean to everybody. I'm so thankful for the people in my life who have told me what I mean to them. For a mom who tells me every day that she loves me, for a dad who says that he's proud of me, for a brother who says, you're an idiot but you're funny and I love you, and for a sister who, still hugs me like she did when she was 6 years old. Without them and without some amazing people, amazing friends, and amazing family, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here saying this. I wouldn't be here doing the things that I'm doing, spreading the love that I try to spread, and just pursuing a happier reality, a better life. I'm gonna link some resources in the bio for crisis management, for the suicide hotline, anxiety hotline, some resources that I really believe in. Just remember, you're loved. I'm here for you. I'm available. So talk to who you need to talk to, get that help, but most of all, just don't forget your worth. Thank you for listening to Desert Skies podcast. It is always a pleasure, and I will come back at you guys next time with a much more lighthearted episode. But for now, just think about the things that I said and really try to take them to heart, because you're worth it.